baby boomers' highest divorce rate with Maria Romano. Isn't the wedding vow, till death do us part, going by the wayside for a steadily growing number of married couples who are 50 and over and resulting in gray divorces? Listen to Maria as she unfolds why getting divorced later in life is on the rise.
We're going to go live on Facebook. Okay, it is Monday, May 10th. Did everybody have a great Mother's Day? I hope so. I hope you did out there in IG land. And tonight we've got an interesting topic, a very interesting topic that I'm going to be discussing. Gray divorce. That's like, what the hell does gray divorce mean? Well, this week we got hit with the bombshell. Bill and Melissa Gates are divorcing. Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought $130 billion? Woof, $130 billion. I can't even count that high, right? Let alone, could you imagine having that kind of money? And now, after 27 years of marriage, this couple is calling it quits. So according to the tabloids, what they're saying is this has been in the works for a while. I'll say, oh my gosh, I mean, we're talking lots of money here, but not just lots of money. Let's just take this and break this apart and tear this down a little bit. They have a daughter, right? They've had relationships with other people. They've built up this big foundation. And how are they going to move forward? So I think that that's going to be very interesting to see how they manage to move forward. Sorry, these notifications are popping up. I got to turn them off. How are they going to move forward, right? In their circle, their worlds. I mean, there's lots of people today that I know of, and that's just in my circle of friends that I know that are divorcing, that have been married. And that's why they call this the gray divorce. It's amongst baby boomers because we have been married maybe to our spouse for a very long time. And we decide, okay, that's it. We're calling it quits after 20, 25, 30, 40 years. So it's not just happening at that 27-year mark, a 25-year mark. There's a point where baby boomers, they're divorcing. Why? Because they're living longer. And when they got married 10, 20, 30 years ago, they've changed throughout their relationship. And maybe what they want in a partner has changed. So that's why that's why they call this the gray divorce rate. Do you know that our generation, baby boomers, have the highest divorce rate? It's interesting, don't you think? That we have a higher divorce rate, and here we are, we're supposed to have what? A lot more wisdom, right? And know what it takes to be in a relationship, and yet we ourselves are also making the decision to say, okay, enough is enough. I don't know how many years I have left, but I want to be able to spend it with somebody that I'm going to enjoy it with. And that's one of the reasons too, because there are men and women that come to a point in their life where they said, listen, this relationship is I'm just not going to coast. I'm not going to stay with it because tradition says you need to stay together. You might have stayed together until the kids got a little older, whatever the situation is. And maybe you waited until your parents were no longer around because you didn't want to have to deal with the stickler tradition, right? We don't ever like when we're judged and frowned on, especially by our family members, our parents. But now there are many baby boomers that are just saying, you know what? I'm not staying together. And even though they're splitting their assets and they're moving forward and they're taking a risk, it's more important that they find the type of life that they want. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to find a great partner. Most baby boomers are going out and learning and spending time finding about who they are, what makes them tick, what they want in life, especially at this journey, this stage in life. We want to remain healthy. We want to have a good quality of life. And we want to make sure that we are utilizing every second, every day that we have and enjoying it to the fullest. And that also means sometimes giving up a partner that you have for a long time. I mean, I'm sure with Bill and Melissa Gates, this was not something that just happened overnight. Now, there have been rumblings that she was unhappy, and there have been rumblings that he might have, palled around with Epstein. I don't know. I'd hate to think about that. Okay, this man has a daughter. What example is he setting, right? And that's important as well. So you wonder what goes behind closed doors. And people are talking about that, he's a baby boomer. He's flat out, he's 65 and she's 56. And they met in the office. That's where a lot of romances wind up blossoming. Yeah, I know I married lots of people and a lot of them meet in the office. So those of you that don't work with your spouse, make sure you have a really good open communication with your spouse. Find out who they are working with. We don't want any office romances blossoming, do we? But getting back to baby boomers, so we baby boomers, and I'm a baby boomer, and many of you out there are baby boomers, we're at a point in life, like I said, we have decided, listen, I don't know how much time I have left, but whatever time I have left, I'm going to spend it the way I want to spend it. And we recognize too that when we've been in a long-term relationship, that spouse is not going to change. Maybe we've waited for them to mellow out. We've waited for them to break habits that we didn't like. And you know what we find out? That's never going to happen. Because a leper, what loses his spots, changes his spots, whatever the term is. What makes you think the person that you've invested many years with, that you were wishing and hoping and figging and fagging, thinking that they were going to change, is going to change? It doesn't happen. The only way they change is when you change the way you think. And that's really the key thing with any relationship. But again, there are many boomers out there that are divorcing and they are staying in business together. I know of a few people where they work for their partner, with their partner, ex-partner. And that gets to be a little dicey. If you're deciding that you're not going to stay in your relationship, your long-term relationship, I mean, where do you draw the line? I mean, I know that you need to have an income. I know that money's important. But how do you explain that to somebody coming into your life that's new, especially if you're looking to meet somebody? How do you say, oh, yes, I'm divorced, but I still work with my ex? There's going to be a little bit of jealousy, bone of contention. So those are things you need to think about when moving forward. I'll never forget my friend Eleanor. We were talking about past relationships, and she was in a relationship with somebody and they were talking about his past. And this is what she said. She says, you know what, Maria, an old love is a dead love, and a dead love needs to die. Now, I do realize that many baby boomers, like me, we have children. So you're never gonna, if you're in a relationship with somebody that's also a baby boomer, they have kids, so their exes are always going to be around to some degree. And I understand that. But if they don't need to be around, then don't belabor and keep them around. And that's what happens. Sometimes when we've had long-term relationships, we still rely on our ex. And that's really something, if you're out of the relationship and you can cut the cord and clean and walk away, that's the best thing to do. So the term tonight was gray divorces, gray divorces. And again, it's because of we baby boomers, we're just not tolerating what we used to tolerate. And that's probably why these millennials and younger are doing it right, because they're taking their time. They're taking their time in relationships. They're not fast tracking. Yeah, they might hook up right away. But my whole point is they meet somebody, they find out sexually if they're compatible, then they move in together, and maybe they cohabitate and they have a family, and then they decide to get married. And who's to say that that's wrong? Because look at us as baby boomers, we are the ones that have the highest divorce rate. Why? Because we've tolerated certain things. We've allowed tradition, right? Tradition that you don't divorce or wait until the kids are older. And what? And sometimes you're miserable and the kids can't wait for you to divorce. And they wonder why you stayed together. So, maybe we baby boomers can learn a lesson from the younger generation, which is, I know that's a little different, isn't it? Because we think we can be teaching them. But maybe we can learn a lesson too. And that means when you're on this stage of your life and you are a baby boomer, don't fast track. And this is what I tell clients all the time, is do not rush into the next relationship just because you're getting older, right? We have that mortality clock that's kicking. Don't rush. Take your time. Take your time finding somebody that's going to be the right person for you. But more importantly, if you are going through a breakup and you've had a long-term relationship, take the time to nourish yourself. Take the time to fill your cup and find out what you want in your next relationship. But most of all, spend time getting to know who you are and love yourself. Because when you love yourself and you have confidence, you're going to be able to get out into the dating world or wherever you're going to meet somebody, and you're going to rock it. You're going to rock it because your confidence is going to permeate and just reach out to everybody. And that's what men and women are attracted to. We're attracted to individuals that are confident, that have their act together because they know what they want. They know where they're going. They know what is important to them. So I just, I send out my sympathies to Melissa and Bill Gates. I mean, I don't ever want to see anybody divorce, whatever the situation is. And I hope that whatever they go through, that they take the time to heal before they get into the next relationship, because you don't want to jump from the frying pan into the fire. And this is important, all my friends. You need to understand this. Now, I know a lot of people, a lot of men and women that go from one relationship to the next. You need to spend time, like I said, you need to spend time to find out who you are, healing, and then love yourself. And when you love yourself, you're going to rock yourself. So this is what Gray Divorce is all about. And I wanted to just share that little bit of information to you. And if you're going through a difficult time and you just want to share somebody to talk to, reach out to me. I am a dating coach, and I work with men and women over 50 in particular that want to find love again. But again, if they haven't healed, I really tell them to take the time to heal as you're moving forward. So have a great evening. Have a great week. Remember, as I said, to continue to stay healthy, stay happy, stay safe, and always remember to spread love. Have a great evening, everybody. Good night.